Welcome everybody to another edition of the In the Paint Show, presented by Ballislife. Episode 181. We appreciate everybody always sticking with us as 224 rolls along pretty fast here. We're gonna be hitting March. The playoffs are in full swing around the country. March Madness is quickly approaching, and the NBA is ramping up. We thought we have so much to talk about, Chelsea and Ani. Like, we don't really know where to start this week. We could just went in a million different directions. So we're just gonna kind of ask each other some few questions and kind of freestyle. We're having a freestyle episode. Again, we appreciate everybody jumping on iTunes and YouTube. And please tell your friends to like and subscribe and jump on where they watch and listen to their podcast. We appreciate it. So how are you guys doing?
I'm doing well, Ronnie. Hanging out, living life in Portland, Oregon, the best I can. And
hanging out. Don't you gotta work?
I do tomorrow, but right now it's only 8 o'clock. So I'm here with you guys and I'm chilling. Okay. What about you, Ani?
Oh yeah, everything's all good. Just work and grind. I mean, I'm grinding so hard, like I haven't had a haircut in 3 weeks. I don't even got time to get a haircut.
Ani, what's up with your haircut?
Nah, man. I've been moving too damn much,
Ani, there's always time for a haircut. I'm gonna see you next week at EYBL Scholastic.
Oh, I'm gonna have one then.
Okay, all right. Come correct, all right. You gotta make a good showing.
For sure, yeah.
So where's EYBL Scholastic next week?
So there's going to be a Scholastic tournament with 8 teams. It's getting kicked off in Augusta, Georgia, same where they hold Peach Jam. And it is not the top 8 teams in our league, but it's pretty formidable. They don't really have the league set up where it's like a championship per se. It's just more like sessions. So I know Oak Hill is going to be there. Wasatch is going to be there. The only team that's like really notable that's not going to be there is Mount Verde. But other than that, should be competitive. 8 teams, 3 days. And Ani's going to meet me out there. So let's see what happens.
Out there.
Yeah, let's see what happens. Question. I'll just throw it out there. Like, Oak Hill Academy. Like, are they going to come back, Chelsea? Are they going to be the Oak Hill we know? Or are they going to be revamped? Or is it just too far in the hills and these kids just can't deal with it? And they're playing pretty good. They're solid. But what do you think? At the end of the day, 2 or 3 years from now, is Oak Hill back, or are they just going to be with the pack?
No, I mean, I think they're always going to be formidable, but I think their reign of being like a just premier, prep school program is kind of come and gone. They're going to get a couple good players, but there's a lot more diversity now. People are spread out. Teams are competitive. So when there's so many options, I don't really think that Oak Hill, is going to draw so many kids there. They can kind of base it off of their pedigree and their history, but it's like, there's a lot of teams that are doing that in better places. Like, well, why wouldn't I want to go to prep school in Florida? Sunny beach weather. Like, I don't think they have not credibility, but I don't think they have the juice that they used to have. Like, it was always Oak Hill and kind of everybody else. And it's just not like that anymore. So they'll be formidable. They're going to be in our league. But as far as kids just running and beating down the door to play there, I can't see it.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I think, when Steve Smith, when Coach Steve Smith left, I mean, he retired. Same thing. Like, I think Sunrise is kind of in the same boat. They can still be really good, but they got to recruit guys that fit, kind of what they're doing. You're not going to, not saying they won't get a 5-star kid, but that 5-star kid kind of has to fit the culture they're trying to establish. And I think right now we're just kind of dealing with that transition period, especially with both of them. I mean, obviously you got like Mount Verde, you got Prolific. Not even talking about Scholastic. Just like you got so many options of just teams and probably more ideal locations. Like I know kids out here, they say, yeah, Oak Hill Freestyle. What do you think? Shit, I ain't trying to be at the in the mountains with no Wi-Fi, or I ain't trying to be in Kansas, But what I'm getting at is you gotta get guys that kind of fit the culture you're trying to establish or the style. It all comes down just to recruiting the guys that make sense. I'm not saying like Branson, Missouri is just the most ideal place, but obviously Link's kind of coming up and
sure,
you're just kind of doing a really good job with the recruiting part and the other things. So I just think for those programs like Oak Hill, I think even Sunrise is more of a rebuilding time. But they gotta maybe you don't get number 1 player in the country or the number 5. Maybe it's some guys that are outside the top 50. You got one that's like in the 40-ish range.
Sure.
But those guys have to fit. It just has to fit. It's got to be more of a team thing of when it ain't going to be like you got someone just dropping like, 20 and 10 double-doubles every night. Like they got Magwood and Anderson can hoop. But, when you're going against, the likes of like Trey Johnson's, Cooper Flags, Rob Wrights, on a day-to-day, it's just a little different. So I just think those teams are going to always be okay, but they can be really good if they just recruit guys that fit, the culture they're trying to establish.
Do you think that Mount Verde is kind of overtaken Oak Hill? Like, we're seeing like this year, especially, I mean, they're undefeated. They have all the top players. They have 3 McDonald's All-Americans. Like, I can see them going on a good run the next several years, just kind of rebuilding and reloading and just being the premier program that kids want to go to. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think so. And they're in a pretty nice location where people want to go to, where kids want to go to. I think location is key in this stuff. But I think Mount Verde, I think they kind of just been running away with it for some years now. The pros, like you said, Chelsea, the pedigree, just the players, I mean, the only thing I can see maybe if it slowed down a little bit, if like, let's say Coach Bowles gets a college job, and who do you replace, so maybe there may be a slight rebuilding, like maybe a year or so, but then they pick it back up. But I just think they're just kind of running the show right now.
You think the coaches make that much of a difference for these kids, or are they really just thinking like, okay, well, this coach has so many guys in the pros, like I want to go play for him? You think that's kind of what influences it, or is it more for the school or the coach? I guess is my question.
I think it's a mixture of both, but I think the coach does play a big part in it, especially who that coach is. I mean, Lean did a good job. They go from Ronnie Perry, then they go to Bill Armstrong. You went from a high-level coach to another high-level coach. Two high-level coaches. And not disrespect Sunrise or Oak Hill, but I'm just saying like both coaches they had weren't at the pedigree of the guys that that left. They're guys that are building. So I do think coaching does play a part in it. I do. I think the program plays a big part, but I think the coach as well. You want to play for a coach that you feel comfortable can kind of get you to that next level from a player perspective, and also like the other things like get you be a McDonald's All-American.
Influence.
Has influence, even like, NBA scouts call them and stuff like that. Those things are important for those kids.
No doubt. I'll give you guys a funny little tidbit because, again, like you said, Chelsea, Steve Smith had it rolling. He's been a guest on our pod a few times. And, we talk about great players or something like shit. His top 5 guys that he turned down are great. Like, okay, the best guy, I'll just say it again. I don't know if he wants me to say it, but again, this is a freestyle event. We're just talking. We're just having a good time. He turned down Kevin Garnett. So, again, Kevin Garnett was in South Carolina, and he kind of wanted to make a move. He thought, and Steve was like, he felt he just should have done a little more homework because people said, hey, this kid's got a lot going on. He's George, he's mouthy, and he's a handful, which how Kevin Garnett is. He's outgoing and he's a mouthful. He kind of like, I should have done a little more work because he's a great guy, hard worker. I didn't dig deep enough. And again, information didn't travel now like it does now. You know what I mean? So he kind of regretted that because I think he might have was thinking of coming in after his junior year. And then Kevin got involved in a small incident at school, and then next thing you know, Nike kind of steered him to go with Ronnie Fields in Chicago, and the rest is history. But I just thought that was pretty interesting because some of the guys he's turned down, again, like you said, when he had it rolling, and I'm sure Kevin Boyle does the same thing at Mount Verde. I'm sure he's turned down a player or two that's like pretty damn good. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's pretty interesting there.
I have a question for you guys. So obviously Mount Verde is going to lose a lot of players this year. Like, who can you see them getting for next season, or just kind of reloading and revamping their roster? Because they're going to lose a lot. Like, Ani, I know this is a question for you because you're smiling, so I know you probably have a little insider info.
I know. I heard some names that recruit.
You heard some names, okay, but they're confidential at this time.
Yeah, I can't say. Okay. But they've been reaching out. Yeah, they've been reaching out.
I'm sure they have. Let me see this. Let me see the list real quick.
That's a great question. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, I know. I wanted to put you on the spot. This is a freestyle episode, and here you go.
Nah. I could see if Malik Thomas wins another state title in Pennsylvania, I can see him. I can see him going. And that's nothing against his program, Lincoln Park. I'm just saying, sometimes you are at a certain level in an area and like you have nothing left to prove in that region or in that, you know, on a daily basis. And a good example of that is the guy who went to Oak Hill a few years ago. Ani helped me out, and he was just like, man, he was in Ohio, and he's like, I'm not playing against anybody any good. You know what I mean?
I know you're talking about.
He told us that, you know, he was like, man, because he stayed at his high school all the way to like early October.
Oh,
and he's like,
it was Chris Livingston, right?
Yeah, Chris Livingston. He was just like, I'm not getting, I just worried I'm not going to play any.
Yeah, did you see those? I went and watched a local game. That was he needed to go.
Sometimes that's just the reality of the game. We're talking about guys thinking about money, making money. Obviously, NIL is changing, you know, the landscape of everything now. So yeah, I would say him. Let me just look down this list. Darius Acuff made a great move this offseason, I thought.
He did.
Let's just see who's in it.
Ani's holding out, Ronnie, basically. He's holding out.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay.
I'm playing scared right now. I'm gonna be scared right now.
And then you got I don't have a name offhand. I can see Alexander Lloyd. I can see a couple guys from Florida moving over to Montverde because
over there.
I'll tell you guys the truth. Florida has a lot of good teams right now, like West Vista Academy, Windermere Prep, Winter Haven. There's gonna be some guys making a move.
And then
our guy
26 is up.
Yeah, then they got Caleb Gaskins, Chelsea, who's like buried on the bench. He's probably a top 5 guy for the Knight Riders. He plays for the Knight Riders. He's probably a top 5 guy in the class, and he was my National Freshman of the Year last year. And he's just on the bench at Montverde, so he's going to step up. You know what I mean? I just thought maybe for him, and I'll be honest, I thought Caleb could have went after this year. And maybe he's getting really better in practice, and Ani, maybe he's going to blow up this spring and summer and into next year, you know, like, so maybe it was a good move. Again, it's the practice, you know, so
that's fair.
That's to answer your question. I could see that with Malik and maybe a few other guys that are high level, you know.
Okay, well, to keep the ball rolling, and speaking of making a move, you know, your boy Bronny Jr. has been a hot topic in the media the last couple of days. I am a Bronny fan. You know, we've talked about him a lot on the pod.
I know, Cheslea, but you tell the real. You're the one of the people that tell the real. Like, that boy's a 3-year boy.
Okay, I do say that, but you know? I also just feel like, you know, it's hard. It's hard being him. Like, you know, he's figuring out his way at USC. I think LeBron came out recently and said, like, to let him be a kid, but obviously LeBron influences him not being a kid because he also makes comments like Bronny could play in the NBA right now and he's better than some of these kids. So he makes it more difficult. But word is that his name was removed from the 2024 draft. So kind of just wanted to get your guys' opinion on, you know, what's next for Bronny. Is he going to do another year at USC or what are your guys' thoughts?
I mean, like, he is what he is. Like, here's the thing.
He is what he is, but what is he?
I mean, he's just a solid catch and shoot hot guy. He's a high major guard. Let me say this. He's a high major guard, solid old player. All right. Yeah. USC sucks. I understand he had the deal in the fall and people kind of saying his numbers wouldn't look that much different. Like, if the situation didn't happen. I hate that it did, but Bronny is kind of what he is. He's more of a catch and shoot specialist that got a good body, that can defend some. He's actually put in pretty solid numbers as a high major freshman guard.
Correct.
You know, like, it just, people thought he was a damn lottery pick or this, that, and the third. Like, bro, it was just stupid. Like, it was dumb. LeBron can't say let him be a kid. Shut up and stop telling people that he's better than half the role players in the league. And
he said he could help the Lakers right now.
Yeah, like, bro, like Chelsea said, it's hard enough for that kid to be who he is, LeBron's son. Like, yo, it ain't no easier when people are starting to say you better than dudes in the league. and then they come see you play, and you put up like 2 points in a game, and your team getting blown out, and you going 1 for 5 from the field.
Yeah.
And it's nothing against them. I just think people are so like unrealistic when it comes to him. Like so unrealistic. He is probably a 3 to 4 year guy. That won't be a 3 or 4 year guy because he's Bronny James.
He's leaving.
Yeah, he's leaving. He may leave this year. I don't know. Listen, Gavoni know more than me. So that's what. So listen. So he probably put in 225 for a reason because he done heard something. But I won't buy it till I see the news say he's not going to declare.
Yeah, but again, let's go back a year ago, Ani. Me and Gavoni were laughing and joking about it. He's all right, you know. You must be taking shit for where you put Bronny on that mock draft. And he goes, "This class is so bad, I might as well just move him up to number 1." So we were laughing, you know. And it was like that was the whole point. So to me, he took the easy way out. He just moved him to 225. No, just say now you know he ain't good enough to be in the 224 first round.
He wasn't good enough. He was never good enough.
No. Okay. But do you guys give him just a little bit of grace considering what he's been through though too? Like
here's the thing, kid with that, I think I know you're saying like his health.
Yeah, like the situation. I'm not even talking about just the LeBron stuff. I'm talking about like this kid almost died. Like he's won the game of life. The fact that he's still here and he's able to play and perform and you know, he missed some of the season and he came in late. And I'm not saying that his numbers wouldn't be what they still are, Ani, but I'm like, you have to cut him a little bit of slack just trying to figure his way out just from an incident like that happening, a major incident.
But like, yes, I'm not mad. Like, I'm not getting on the kid. It's just that's just what he always was this.
He's like, not ready, is what you're saying.
He was not ready. Like, could he have been more ready if that stuff if it didn't happen? For sure. Like, for sure. But he's still a freshman. Yeah. Playing high major basketball. And that shit is so hard. And I don't think this is the problem a lot of casual fans have. They don't watch these levels of basketball. Yeah. Low, mid, high major. They
don't know the difference.
And they'll know the difference. They don't know how hard it is. How many freshmen are going out there just busting ass? Yeah. This was the same kid, like, you know, out of high. Yeah, he was a McDonald's All-American, but how many McDonald's All-Americans do we see struggle? Like, how many McDonald's All-Americans are we seeing struggle in college basketball this year? That, they have a breakout game or two, but they're really struggling. It's not easy playing at that level. Those are grown men. These dudes, like, regardless of, I do give him grace for it, but it's just the reality of he was an 18, 19-year-old kid that's about to go against 22, 23, 24-year-old, some 25 grown men. And to expect him to put up numbers year one and be a lottery pick or first-round pick in 224 when he already was kind of getting overhyped in high school was so unrealistic. It wasn't fair for that kid. The media put him in that position. I don't feel bad for Bronny. I mean, I feel for Bronny. I'm sorry. I'm mad more at the media and the people putting unrealistic expectations. And some of these people know how hard it is to do that shit. Yeah. And the guys that came before that did it and how special they were, or the guys that came in that was supposedly special and didn't do it and needed more years to get that done. There was nothing wrong with this kid going to do 3 years of college. Like, there was nothing wrong. Everybody else tried to make it something that it should never have been. And now it gets ugly. Now you put him in 225 draft. Now LeBron says, like, bro, it should never even gone to that.
It's just going down a rabbit hole.
It was just stupid. Like, it was all done from the jump.
Yeah. Okay, so let me ask you this, though. What if, say he does leave, maybe he's playing at a high level? Sometimes we've seen incidents where players have kind of unlocked their potential a little bit more. Derek Lively, he was underwhelming in college and got to the pros. He's being, pretty solid. Peyton Watson at UCLA, underwhelming, come to the pros and kind of unlock his talent. Can you see that maybe being a situation for him, or you really are just like, no?
6'1", 6'2" guard do that.
Yeah, it's
his size.
Like he's a point guard in the league, and I'm not saying he can't be a good NBA player, but he needs time. Like, maybe, but like Peyton Watson 6'8",
freakish.
Play for a loaded UCLA team. That UCLA team was good as shit.
How about our guy Hyman?
Yeah, I mean, bro, like he was playing behind pros. You know what I mean? Like Derek Lively, I was up and down, but he's 7'1". Athletic and block shots.
Those are just two precious people in my mind. I understand the eye test and the size, but I'm just saying they weren't great in college and they went to the league and they're doing all right.
Yeah, but how many 6'2" guards do we see that?
Yeah, he's not special, and he's not special athletically. People need to stop saying that. He's not special athletically.
Yeah, he's a solid athlete, but he's not like a freak athlete.
Yeah.
No. And then here's another thing. Get back to your point, Chelsea, is me and Ani, and I'll take the rap for it. I'll take the credit for whatever we want to call it. We had Bronny ranked 96 in the country. So he's playing like the 96th player to me.
Yeah.
That's where he's supposed to be. Whatever had him 24, 19, quit lying. Quit faking it. If you guys want social clout, go ahead. If you want to, because if that's what you think basketball is, go ahead. Because you want access, or you want to be able to interview LeBron, or you want to be able to talk to somebody from Clutch or something, go ahead. I'm not really into that. Like, I'm cool. I'll just tell the truth. You know what I mean? Like, I really don't give a damn, really, to be honest, because that's where he's really at. And then secondly, to your second point, Chelsea, is something crazy, like a life-altering thing happened, and nobody knows anything about it.
Right.
Now, us three may know something about it, or some people may know about it behind closed door, but he had a serious medical issue. So what we know is like of cardiovascular. Well, let's take it to COVID for a second. We talk about COVID happened, all this craziness. Everybody's like, I'm like, all these recovery numbers are bullshit. And they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, okay, let's say Chelsea, you're in San Diego State or something, or you've been running and you run a 7:30 mile. Okay, that's pretty fair. 6:40, whatever a good athlete could run, maybe down to 6:30 or 6 minutes.
I run a 6-minute mile. 6-minute mile.
Yeah, just for say 7:30, just because. Yeah. But let's just say the average person can do 7:30 to 8 minutes. That's kind of like, if you're not actually, you can kind of do that, right?
Yeah.
If you had COVID and the next week you can't do a 7:30 mile, you didn't recover. Don't count me you recovered. You're a different person. If you're, and I know somebody who happened that they had their chest was burning. They were trying to get back into. So again, Ronnie had a crazy incident and we know nothing about it. How do we know? Like you said, he's not a little weaker. Yeah. How do we know? We don't know nothing about it. We know he's 18, 19 years old and he had an issue. Like, I think that's been a huge mistake. I think they should have came out and said, again, we know he went to the Mayo Clinic. We know he gets the best doctors, but like, I'm still up in there like, what really happened? Like, how much is this really affecting him? Is it affecting him at all?
Yeah, we don't know.
We don't really know. And it's kind of unfair. It's kind of unfortunate. Like you said, that's another unfortunate thing. Because again, I'm really realistic. I don't really care about like the Sports Center highlights. I want to know, like, is this kid okay? Is he okay? Right. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's a really big decision.
And I want him to enjoy his college experience.
Yeah,
I want him to enjoy college experience. There was a tweet, Mike Miles' mom interviewed her son. She's doing a little podcast, and he kind of talked about like, going through the college experience now with the NIL and everything. And it's better than doing a year, like spending your time in the G League.
Oh yeah.
Like y'all trying to push him to the NBA so hard. After all this, he played with his father and he's in the G League. Like, bro, that kid gonna be like, man, I'm kind of like, let him enjoy the college experience.
Yeah.
Like let him enjoy it instead of trying to force him to the league. And then, now if he's doing stints in the G League and the dude's like, shit, I remember when I was at USC having a good time. I've been there for 3 more years, but y'all, you know what I mean? Like, let him enjoy college, bro.
We have a jacked up look at it. We have a society has a bad view of that. Very bad.
Yeah, Mike probably like, shit, I'd rather be in college right now than do the tour in the G League. I mean,
well, let's talk about that real quick, audience. You like you said, the G League is what, 6 and 35?
Oh, the Ignite? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Ignite. And then ain't no grown man giving a damn if you can't get in the club or eat, or if he's gonna go eat dinner. He ain't trying to, Chelsea, want to come along? He don't. If you're 19 years old and can't keep up, ain't nobody crying for you. You know what I mean? So that's another issue. So like you said, when you go to college, you're around people, your peers. I'll say this, and another kind of just a rant and a freestyle rant. when I was in high school and college, like gangsters were in. You know, girls like gangsters. They did, whether it was the music, whatever. Like now, they like nerds, right? Like they're kind of in. So when preppy dudes are kind of in. So when are we gonna like? When is college gonna be in again? Like you said, like that's cool. There's nothing wrong with going to college. That should be in. Not like trying to get out, trying to go pro. Like why can't we just have this scenario where like college is looked at like really a hell of a cool thing? You know what I mean? I don't get it.
I have always said that. You know, I'm a total advocate for college. We talked about that G League Ignite team before that I just said, no, those kids should have went to school. Like, I thought that. And now NIL, you know, there's whispers that the G League Ignite might not even be a thing, you know, in the next few years, because just NIL has kind of taken over, that kids can go get paid and go to school and get that experience. And I think that experience is invaluable. I really don't, you know, care. If you don't need the money, especially like, you know, well, one, the kids are going to get money anyway, but I'm saying like the total experience and just learning and growing and the camaraderie of just being a college athlete, like that's really the best time of your life. I had the best times of my life just being a student athlete in school, and I wasn't getting any money, and I should have got some money, but I wasn't getting any money. So I'm just saying, like, I'm saying I had to enjoy it for free, guys. So these kids could go enjoy it and have a blast and make a whole bunch of money. You know, like we see it all the time, just in women's basketball, especially like Caitlin Clark, like Angel Reese. These girls are getting so much money, and they have the option to go to the league next year. But I wouldn't if I was them. Like, enjoy it while you can. The league is going to be there, and if you belong in the league, you're going to get there. Like Caitlin Clark, if she wanted to use her redshirt year and stay another season, she would just run the bag up times 10, you know, and still have a blast. I think that she personally should take the next step, because one, she is going to get the endorsements that she has. For example, she's with us. She's a Nike athlete. She has Gatorade. She has State Farm. Like, her endorsements aren't going to leave her. And I think from a basketball standpoint, she just superseded, you know, women's college basketball. Like, I think she needs to just take the jump to the next level. But on the other hand, I think Angel, who has some stuff that she can work on skill-wise, is having a blast, having a boyfriend, making money, coach, Mercedes, all that. Like, I would say if I was her, like, there's just no rush. Like, so I think kids need to look at their individual situations and just see, you know, not necessarily in the moment, but just what's the best move, you know, for long-term. What's the most sustainable move? Like, you know, and jumping to the league isn't always it. A lot of these guys bounce out or they hit the G League, just like Ani said. So I don't know.
Yeah, there's been some crazy statistics about that. How many first rounders have already not signed that extension from 220, 221? It's a big number. It's a big number.
Yeah, no, the Ignite stuff's kind of, I mean, they lost by 22 tonight or 21 tonight to the Legends. It's tough to watch. I mean, have y'all watched them play?
I did once. Remember, I was with you, Ronnie. The first
what's the difference? Is because Pooh Jetter's not there, Amir John? Is it almost an all young team, and now they don't got like a mixture of young and old? What's the difference now?
It's a young team, but
no, they still have some vets though.
Yeah, they still have some vets. It's not, the roster construction is not very put together well. I don't think they complement each other well. Ron Holland obviously being out 8 to 12 weeks higher, but they're losing even with him. I just think the team just was poorly constructed. I thought they took too many young guys. I think if you're going to do this, you got to take maybe like 3 to 4 guys max.
Yeah.
Surround them with vets and, you know, really focus on that. I feel like it's just more spaced out with the development. You got Cherry, Darlon, Bob Carr. I know I think he's in the second year. Dink Pate, who's 17 and starting at point. London Johnson.
That's a hell of a experience for him, though.
Yeah, no, great experience. I mean, he be turning that ball over too much. I'll be talking.
We got to get on Dink. We got to get on Dink.
You had London. You had Ron, Matas, Amansa. I named this. I just named 7 guys. I think I'm missing somebody.
That's too many. That's more than half the roster. Yeah.
Right. That's too many guys to say, hey, like, yo, let's play against the G League, like this full G League, I think 50-game schedule, and, you know, compete. I just think if you cut that in half, you're in a better situation. But it's hard to like have all those guys and like, okay, we're gonna develop these guys. We're gonna have a not saying a winning season, but like, you know, not the worst team in, you know, in the league. You know what I mean? It's just a competitive season like that. It's hard to do that with 7 guys that aren't even draft eligible. You know what I mean? Like, that have to do another year to be draft eligible. It's just hard. You're not going to be successful that way.
Yeah.
Well, so do you think that they're going to make it? You think, no, I'm not the players. I'm saying, like, do you think the G League Ignite will continue? Because I'm hearing rumblings that the NBA is making all kinds of changes, like maybe getting rid of G League Ignite, maybe changing the rules, expanding the 3-point line. Their NBA is all over the place right now with just
as they should be, because right now on Chelsea, they don't have a great product.
Okay,
some of their product sucks. You know what I mean?
So what changes need to be made then? I'll start with you, Ani, first. Like, do you think the G League Ignite is going to be sustainable?
I don't know. I'm 50-50 on that.
Okay. I still see some value in it, but
I still see value. I think they could do another year and then let that go.
Okay, but what's the value? You guys see the value in it, so what is it? I
think if you condense it, it's kind of tricky because, you know, you got some guys that did sign 2-year contracts. Like, so, I mean, I know money ain't the thing for the NBA, but, like, I do think if you just have a solid 3 guys and you just focus on that, I do think, like, those guys can actually really develop. But just build a roster to actually win. That's how I feel. Like, build a roster to win. And then bring those guys along. If they can't help you. You play 50 games. Man, them dudes only got to play 25 and look pretty good. Like, you got to play all 50. Like let's try to win. Let's try to compete and win. And focus on 3 of them. And just get them going and get them right. And I think it's okay. I think there's value if you condense the numbers. But I think what the NBA going to do is, at best, they're going to do 1 more year and shut it down. I won't be surprised if they shut it down after this season. You know, I mean, who wants to keep seeing them lose by 20, 30 points? You know.
What was the difference between that, Ani, with the group with Foster and Jalen Green and them? A little more talent and just the construction was a little better?
They were constructed better. They kind of complement each other better.
Okay.
You know, and they weren't playing like, the big boy wasn't, I mean, his minutes was kind of like up and down some. Yeah. I mean, like, it wasn't, those guys complement each other, and then they weren't playing a lot of those guys 25.
Yeah, 30. They were playing less.
Yeah, they weren't playing that many minutes. You didn't have as many guys. But what I think the NBA need to change is, like, overall, I mean, to Ronnie's point, I think it's not a great product. I'm going to be more political on that. I don't want to say it sucks, but it's
not his best product.
It's not my cup of tea.
Yeah, it's not his best product.
I want to keep saying 140 to 127. Like, let's do something where defense is actually valued more. Like in the regular season or something, like change something up, bro. Like, I mean, you go to NBA games, it's more. The NBA is doing this part. That's why I say it's not my cup of tea, because I do know viewership is up. Sure. I do know people are very entertained when they go to games. Like it is entertaining.
They're just entertained though.
But it's almost like it's almost like this is like parody basketball. It sometimes feels like some parody basketball. Like this isn't real. Like we're not just going to keep letting this dude shoot wide open shots, or like you can't make contact. Like we're not going to watch the dude really drop 70, you know, or 60 or 50 when we know he just dropped 35 the night before. But they feel like they really can't do nothing about that. That's just weird. And then you see us in like international play, and you're wondering why some of these guys are struggling. Well, yeah, these motherfuckers actually playing defense. Like you're gonna get hit. Like you know what I mean? Like our basketball's so different, unique, and it's entertaining. But sometimes, like I've gone and watched some games. I'm like, this is not basketball. Like these dudes are just out here. Like these dudes are just
fooling the average fan. Let's just be honest. They know they're fooling the average fan.
Yeah, but like
the average fan's going to be entertained. They don't know if they're playing hard or not. I know if Jared Vanderbilt is getting 60% or not. I know if, you know, I'm just throwing the name out there. I know if, you know, whoever. I know if they're giving 80% or 100. You could just see it. Again,
what would you change, Ronnie? Like what? Just give me a couple of things that you think the NBA could do to just make the product better.
Probably lessen the game in the regular season. and put some real meaning to maybe the All-Star Weekend if they want to continue it, you know, like and then maybe not the home court advantage in the final, but something of that nature. Do that.
What do you think about the actual rule changes?
Yeah.
Like you're saying, maybe get rid of defensive 3 seconds, maybe expand the 3-point line. What do you think about that? And these are just rumblings, like you don't know.
Line and do some hand checking, but I know. But the thing with hand checking sometimes is like you know, you put your hand in the cookie jar, they still gonna get. You know, these guys are savvy enough, they still can get you. But something that just allows a little bit more physicality on defense, that allows allows the defender maybe can be able to initiate a little bit more contact. Just to, you know, I don't know, I like more physical games. That's why I kind of like drawing the Big 12 basketball, like y'all see when they just
the physicality. I
like something maybe not like U of H extreme physicality like allow, but like I don't know, just a more.
Right now, I think Chelsea, they're a product of their success. I've said this before. I've treated the NBA's had a great run. What is it, 40 years now? Just making money, growing. But sometimes in that, any company can get lackadaisical, slack a little bit. So the money's rolling in. Chelsea's making $8 million on a a veteran contract. Ani's making $25 million on a mid-tier contract. I'm a full max guy making $50 million. A couple games we're gonna just tank it or whatever. I get it, but overall, you are hurting. People are catching on a little bit more. That like, you know what, that wasn't very cool. Or like, yeah, you know, I took my son to go watch Wemby and he sat out. Or I took my son to go watch, and we saved the money for the tickets for 6 months, and that eventually gets around. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, you're sitting out games, so maybe that. I don't really like the rule of the MVP. If the MVP plays 52 games, he's the baddest dude. Let him be the baddest dude. Who cares?
Nah, bro, they gotta play 65. They have to play 65 games, bro.
But I'm just saying, it's what's the difference between 64 and 66 is what I'm saying, Ani. That's all I'm saying. You know what I'm saying?
There ain't no difference. Play 65 games.
Yeah.
Play one. What's the difference? Get your ass up and play one more game. Play one more game. Why can't you play one more game?
Well, then that's what I say. Like the load management things has been an issue. We've talked about that. We had a podcast about that with our guy Jason Powell, who gave some great insight of why that is. I guess and I just think sometimes it's leadership, and not leadership on the team, leadership in the NBA, and leadership with the great players. Have a guy that plays like, we want to play hard. We want to show the people a good product. I thought Kobe was like that. I thought Kevin Garnett was a little bit like that. A few other guys. Like, this All-Star game was a bad reflection for all those guys. I don't care what they think. It was bad. That wasn't a good showing for them.
Okay, but let me give you this, though. On the other hand, you're talking about just guys playing hard.
Yeah.
We see narratives and media say certain things when people do try, though, as well. Like, remember the in-season tournament, which, they thought was the most brilliant idea, whatever. And, the Lakers are playing so hard and LeBron's playing so hard. Like, this is a BS tournament. Or, they look at the bubble, for example, as like a Mickey Mouse ring because, like, why are you, like, overachieving in the bubble? So you can't have it both ways. Like, you want the product to be high level, everybody play hard, then that should be how it is across the board. But don't try to downplay the in-season tournament or downplay the bubble when guys are playing hard and then get mad when they're not playing hard.
I agree with that. I agree with that. No, that's real.
Balance. So I'm just saying. And I would love to see them play hard all the time. Like, NBA playoff intensity is amazing when they're in it, but I've seen the narratives too of just LeBron's Mickey Mouse ring and NCAA tournament. He wants the MVP and all that kind of stuff. Well, it's like, if we want these guys to play hard all the time, then we should be celebrating when they do and not, making it be a big deal if they win something like that.
That's a good point, Chelsea. I ain't gonna lie to you. That's a good point.
So, but I agree though. Like, it's very watered down. I'm gonna watch anyway because I just watch basketball, and I could watch a middle school game and still, be entertained. So that's just me personally. And I think the skill level is at an all-time high. Like, these players are incredible in terms of just individual skill sets and what they're able to do. But the product in its entirety, I agree, they need to do something. And I don't even really have answers of what they could do, but I do agree that it could be better.
Great.
So,
speaking
I
of,
do. Go ahead, Ronnie.
Yeah. Speaking of better, so yeah, with that, like, what should the college girls game is great. Like, Chelsea, are any of these girls gonna stay, or real quick, or no? Are they out?
Well, first of all, college basketball, women's basketball is just at an all-time high. Just in terms of just viewership and everything's up, which I think is just amazing and great for the game. South Carolina is kind of having their run right now. Undefeated, still #1 team in women's college basketball. And then there's just a lot of premier players that are just really putting people on notice that just women are talented and amazing. And I think what I've enjoyed the most, especially this year, is just the younger players. Like the freshmen right now in women's college basketball are absolutely killing it. You have Juju Watkins at USC, you have Hannah Hidalgo at Notre Dame. Like, these are young players that are just gonna, hopefully keep the ball rolling when Caitlin Clark leaves. Like I mentioned earlier, I think she should go, because I just think from a basketball standpoint, she needs better competition. I mean, I'd like to see her take it to the next level. She's already the, leading scorer NCAA, which is an amazing accomplishment. And I think she's just kind of done everything that she can possibly do in women's college basketball. So I would like to see her make that jump. I think Angel Reese could use another year, but if she decided to go to the league, then ultimately I think she would figure it out as well. Also this week, though, too, speaking of media and stuff like that, I want to shout out Daisha Fair, who plays for Syracuse. Hasn't been getting any media coverage. Small, dynamic point guard, but she actually this week became the 5th leading scorer all time in NCAA. Yeah, and you guys don't know about it because all we do is talk about Caitlin Clark all the time. But Daisha Fair, I'm telling you, she plays for Syracuse. Dynamic guard. They don't have the games on TV. She doesn't get the media coverage, but this girl's incredible. And a lot of people don't know about her simply because of just media and narrative and how they like to, boost up.
Yeah,
exactly. And Caitlin, I don't want to make it seem like Caitlin does not deserve everything that she gets, because I have never seen a player have so much motion like Caitlin Clark. Like, I just haven't seen it. She's dynamic. She's amazing. She deserves it. But women's college basketball has a lot of players that are really, really good. And I would wish that, the likes of you guys and people who don't know would know about these players that are doing great things, or even players that are going to continue to carry the torch. Like I said, this dynamic freshman class, Malaysia Fulwiley, she plays for South Carolina. She comes off the bench, is dynamic as they come. Michaela, she's playing for LSU, starting. Like women's college basketball is going to be in good hands for a while. So I just encourage people to keep watching.
And the girls stay. They're around. You get to build them. They get to build a brand. You get to follow them if you're really into them. You know what I mean? Sure. Unlike the guys where it's like they're out. It's a little different now,
Yeah, so, and I think women's college basketball has overtaken the men this year. I don't know what you guys think, but I don't know the men's players like I did in the past. Like, I'm not super familiar with who's coming out in this draft, who's going to be a top pick. I've heard a couple names circulating, Rob Dillingham, Kentucky, like players like that. But, women's college basketball is kind of it right now. Like, I don't know if you guys agree, but we could talk about men's college basketball and you guys would have to educate me, because I don't really even know. It's a down year, it seems.
I think the star power, definitely women's college basketball has it. I think men's basketball, men's college game is, I think the product is really good. You got the older guys playing, like, Dalton Nett out of Tennessee, who's been really, really good. His story about, I think he was a D2 kid, or he was like a walk-on, like at a it was a prep school D2 somewhere. Anyway, he's at Tennessee and he's killing. He's he's arguably he should be a lottery pick this year. I think he's someone that's kind of plug and play and be ready to go. My boy Brandon Jenkins said he's the best college prospect in the 24 NBA draft, which I think is kind of wild. But and Brandon knows, I think that's crazy, but I do think he's going to be a good NBA player. Jacoby Walter's been doing really good. Yep. He's actually had a pretty good game against TCU last night. Collier's been solid. Came back from injury. He's been solid. Just USC sucks. But other guys that you may not know about, like Jamal Shedd at UAB.
I've seen him play. He's all right. Point guard.
I think he's really becoming someone that's a pro prospect. And, you know, people don't really know his story much. Like, you know, junior year of AAU, summer ball wasn't great for him. It was up and down in the EYBL. He had a good senior year, came in, you know, didn't really see a whole lot of playing time that freshman year. And I think some injuries happened the following year. I think maybe his freshman. I know some injuries happened. He just played. And he just got better and better and better. Just to see him be someone that, you know, has a real good chance of being the Big 12 Player of the Year, I think that's a fantastic story. I mean, he's just someone that just grinded. No one would have predicted that he'd be this good. Not a lot of people would, to be honest with you. But he's always kind of real tough-minded. Kansas, you know, Kansas is Kansas. I just think it's all about, like, the older guys have
the good teams, the chemistry.
Good teams have done a really good job. You know, Rob Dillingham's that kind of like that interesting case of, like, he, like, I don't know what game it was. I think they lost when they lost to LSU. He was bad in the first half.
He was cooking in the second half.
Yeah, the draft is just filled with some of the younger guys. You're just trying to figure out, like, how good they are or how translatable their game is to the NBA level. Like, Stephon Castle's solid, but, like, you know, hasn't really shot it great. So you're trying to figure out, like, you know, can he really be this big PG in the NBA? And then he shows flashes of it. Donovan Clingan is kind of coming along, getting better. But, you know, you got also non-draft guys like Dickerson at Kansas that's playing good. You know, Kevin McCullough, before he even got hurt, you know, he was labeled as a top 20 pick. So I just think this year is more the older guys or the less sexier draft guys you probably wouldn't draft in normal years are the ones that kind of stealing the show and are the guys that will get drafted first round, early second. You know, I just think the older guys are really kind of taking over this season. So yeah, I say star power college women's basketball definitely has it. But I mean, no, that's not even close. But I do think the brand of college basketball is really good. And I think you're going to see more older guys get drafted or the guys are going to take more chances on older guys in this year's draft compared to probably what's going to happen in the future.
I can see that. I like that. That's good. I pretty much agree. I'll say there's always guys like from Texas Tech, like Darion Williams, who you'd be surprised at the colleges that didn't want him. Big West, Big Sky, they're iffy. And I'm like, guys are pretty good. A few Coach Grant Rice at Bishop Gorman was trying to tell schools he only had Long Beach State really, and at the last minute Nevada offered him, and now he's contributing big time in the Big 12. Like there's a lot of those is what I'm saying basically. Yeah, and I think that's the story of college basketball, because really the big story in college basketball is what's going to happen to it, meaning like the NIL, the rules, NCAA losing all of its court lawsuits, the court rulings, that's overshadowing everything. I think on the guy's side, Chelsea, where it's like on the girls' side, you start with Caitlin Clark and then you go from there, and then it trickles down. Maybe you talk about a few other girls. On the guy's side, everything's about, oh my God, what's gonna happen, not what is happening.
What is happening? I mean?
Yeah, because again, the the federal district court judge in Eastern Tennessee issued that injunction against the NCAA, basically suspending all NIL rules. So right now, Ani, it's like the scholarships don't even matter. So let's say you get in trouble, Ani, and I'm just making up a school, West Texas State. Again, I'm just totally making up a school. Right. And they go on probation, lose 6 scholarships. So what? You can't legally stop their NIL. They can just give those 6 kids NIL money. So there's no enforcement. So if you don't have no enforcement, what do you have? So then the NCAA spending millions and millions of dollars lately in the last 10 years, whatever, fighting all these rulings. They're losing them. So they're losing more money. So if you can't enforce your rules, then what do you guys think? Do you just not care about the rules anymore? Or is it just like, or do you detach yourself from them? Or do you just like, okay, Chelsea's trying to enforce these rules, but we know Chelsea doesn't care if we come home after midnight, so let's just keep coming home after midnight. Who cares? So what do you guys think? Is it going to be like, let's separate and move on from this, reset it? Or is the NCAA going to try to reset? Like, because it's as an organization, they have no teeth no more. So what do you think?
I think that there will be a real detachment from the NCAA at some point. Okay. I think sports will look really different in the next decade.
But
decade. Okay.
I agree with that, but I don't feel bad for the NCAA. Like the NCAA has done this to themselves.
Sure.
They have regulated all kinds of crazy stuff, you know, only basically when it comes to the players, allowed coaches to get paid, bounce around, do all kinds of stuff. And now they can't reel it back in and can't control it now that the shoe's on the other foot. If they would have been reasonable from the jump and said, okay, players should be able to be paid for their likeliness, you know, players should have the ability to transfer to a certain extent. I do think it's crazy. Some of these kids have went to 4 schools in 4 years. So 100% it's out of hand. But I'm saying the NCAA made it this way. They made the Supreme Court get involved because they were unreasonable. Coaches do whatever they want. They make billions of gazillions of dollars off of players all the time and don't want to give a little piece of the pie. They could have just said, hey, you know what? We're going to give this player 10%. And maybe that would have just shut everybody up and they would have been happy with it. But instead, everything went out the window and now they can't reel it back in. I think that Ani's right. They're going to have to detach because either than that, they're just going to self-destruct. Like,
so do you think the quote unquote power schools are leaving? Like you said, I think that's going to happen in some regard. Or do you think they're going to try to say, hey, we'll make you guys employees. You guys can have rights. You will have a collective bargaining. You'll have that kind of thing. Or do you think it'll be, hey, like you said, or we said at the top of the show, there's still some value in taking an athletic scholarship. I'm not, you know, making a lot of NIL money. I'm not going to do that. I'm just Joe Blow. And I don't mind going to college without the NIL component, going to college, enjoying my education, getting it paid for. Is there still value in the old system and then the new system, or no? Is it just going to be too hard to regulate and they're just going to move on?
The major conferences will just separate themselves.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it. Yeah, I just think it's going to come down to kind of like somebody said, you know, I wanted to shout out Lefty Driesell, the old Maryland coach. He passed away recently. He was very elderly. And obviously we know about Len Bias's story, and he tragically passed away the day after he got drafted by the Celtics. But I bring it up because somebody was saying, you know, Lefty got a raw deal with that because obviously the school got under investigation then right after Len's death. It was found out that the team their academics were very bad. Len's academics weren't very good. But the bigger point I'm trying to make is that the AD got let go. The school president got let go. And people were like, Lefty. I'm like, guys, Lefty had to leave. They needed a reset. The whole school needed a reset. It was so bad. I don't know if you guys know, but like their enrollment went down. Their applications plummeted. It really took a negative vibe to the whole campus. So I think that's kind of where the NCAA is going to be at. Like you said, just the next 5 years. It's such a bad name right now. It can't exist in its current form. It's just bad. Like it just, you know, when something has a stain on it, you just has to change. So I think that was the point I want to bring on Lefty Driesell, because people were like, he kind of got a raw deal as a coach. I was like, yeah, but he had to go. They needed a whole reset. So I think I'm on your guys' side with that. Like they're just going to need a reset at some point, whether it's 2 years from now, 5 years, 10 years. It just happens so fast. It's just happened, and just really, even in less shelf life than this pod's been in existence. Like it's just really happened in the last 3 to 4 years. It's just totally off the rails. So
yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. It happened crazy fast. But as we move on, anything else, guys, that catches your eye out there? You know, we're just kind of talking amongst each other. We love talking to each other. I'm glad you guys are on as usual. Anything else out there that you see you want to bring up? I might have something on my sleeve, but I want to see what you guys got going on.
Yo, you were at Pango's Junior All-American camp. How was that?
Yeah, that was good. You know, I was really busy this weekend. Yeah, Dino's bringing guys. A kid from Mexico, UK. You know, Dino's gets his feelers out there and gets kids from all over. There'll be some names in the high school future we'll be talking about. They'll be very good. A few people weren't well known, but I wanted to shout out some of the top guys. Kid from Vegas, from Democracy Prep. I thought he was the best player there. Deshaun Harris, 5'10", 228. These are 8th graders and 9th graders. So that's 228 for our listeners out there. And 7th graders are 229. And 6th graders are 230. Wow. I mean, we're getting down to that age already. Time's just moving on, guys. It's like, holy mackerel, where is time going? So Deshaun Harris, 5'10" guard, really good. Philip Reed, I thought was really good, a guard from Los Angeles. He did really good in the cream of the crop game. Carter Parker, who's a wing from Lancaster up in the high desert in California, lefty. His dad is a well-known player, Tony Parker. Family comes from a lot of line of players, including a cousin who played at Stanford. Carter's about 6'3" lefty. Jonathan Kaminga's younger brother, who's listed as being from North Charlotte School in Charlotte, North Carolina. I'm not sure where, the background is there, but Flory Kaminga, huge, big, strong kid, 6'5", big leg, big muscle. He kind of reminds me of Tunde Ani already, like just a big, strong kid. He was really good. Again, I could go on the names. I'm going to put out a ranking, so check that out later this week. I'll put on like a top. I don't really like to rank middle schools on it. I know we don't really rank middle schools, but I'll put out like a list of 40 guys that did really well. Dejon Lewis is going to go to Rancho Christian High School. Really good wing guard. Boy, he was really good. He played in the second game, and we just made a stipulation that if the MVP of the second game would play in the top game. So he went to the top game and was like a top 5 player in the top game. Like,
I like that. Yeah.
Jason Lewis. Jaizahn Lewis. You'll be hearing about him. 6 foot, 228. Guys from, like I said, from all over. A lot of players who dads played college were there. And that, I guess that just means I'm old. Guys I saw play in high school. Jacoby Thompson, his son was there. Jacoby played at Santa Clara around the time I was in college. Jacoby Thompson, second, very good. He's 229, 6'4", lefty wing he's really good. Remember that name.
What are they feeding these kids?
Boy,
like, why are you 6'4" in 6th grade? Big. These are humongous.
Yeah, he just laughing, and Jacoby had a really good career. He played around that time with Marlon Garnett, Steve Nash, in that era. I don't know if you guys remember Caleb Gervin. He played college ball, and his brother G played at Louisville. Well, Caleb has a son, Cash Gervin, and they live out in the Coachella Valley by like Palm Desert. He's from Bermuda Dunes. Really good defender. Chelsea, he's the kind of player you would like. Really quick hands, puts his hands in there, gets the ball, and like super smooth. Never bothered by anything. He just handles the ball like it's nothing, like second nature. Really calm and quiet kid. So again, I can go on and on about these because I wanted to shout out a kid who did really good in the 7th grade game. He had 36 points. His name is Lorenzo Beltran. Again, 229. I can't believe we're talking about these age of kids. How about you, Ani? Again, I'll promote that online when later this week when I have a chance to put it out. What's going on with UIL? Ani, 2 weeks to go, March 9th. I'm gonna put you on the spot. Who's winning 6A UIL?
Bro, Plano East just beat the crap out of Allen. So I'm gonna go Plano East 6A.
Wow.
5A. 5A is gonna be tough because it's between Lancaster. I just watched the call in WT White. I put a little tweet about it, but WT White down to get fouled at the 3-point line with 0.2 seconds left, miss all 3 free throws.
Oh wow!
Missed all 3 of them. I have the call. It's either the Colony or Lancaster in 5A.
Lancaster.
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to go Lancaster because they're just a little deeper. They just kind of can just keep throwing bodies. I think the Colony kind of get worn out. But I'll go Lancaster. Maybe I'm missing somebody else, but I'll go Lancaster just off the top of my head. 4A, I'm going to go Faith.
Faith family, are they going to step back up and do it?
Faith, but Carter can get them this year. This is a really good Faith family team, but this is the weakest Faith family team he's had
recently
in a while. But it's still like a really good. I ain't saying they're bad or nothing, but if anybody can get Faith this year, anyone can get Faith is this year before it. Okay. They're gonna go 5A next year. But I think Carter has a chance. I'm gonna go Faith, but I really think Carter has a chance. I think Carter can get. I think Carter can get them. 6A Plano East. They don't have but probably one legit Division I prospect. But those dudes have played together so long, and they just it's a machine. It's a machine. I haven't seen nothing like that in a long time. Like usually you got guys at 6A, you know, like I remember Allen, that group was probably the other time, like, but they had Isaiah Stevens. You know, Isaiah Stevens is doing really, really good at Colorado State. Like he's a dude at Colorado State.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see that caliber of player. Like that was the last time I saw like a 6A group that didn't really have like this no-brainer high major, like at the time, and just kind of win it that year. But Plano East doesn't have anybody. I would, you know, they don't have Isaiah Stevens. I mean, I could be wrong later. I'll be happy to be wrong, and one of them dudes just, you know, become just a player. Yeah, like DJ.
I see that.
Like DJ Hallsby's a Division I prospect, but like, you know, I'm not gonna go around saying he's gonna have like an Isaiah Stevens type college career. I mean, that dude's tough. But they're just a collectively are so good. Like they are.
That's awesome to see.
Yeah, and then you got Stony Point as well, who's, you know, we have him ranked very high. Like, you know, Josiah Mosley, Antoine, Coach Antoine does a hell of a job with those guys. If anyone else wins 6A, I think it's them or Plano East. I mean, I hate to say like who's this wild card team. I don't think there's a wild card team. I think it's either Stony Point or Plano East, and I have Plano East right now.
Mm-hmm.
So just to give people some perspective, in the Fab 50, Montverde's #1, Columbus 2, Paul the 6th, who just won the WCAC league title on Monday night over Gonzaga, who came in at 16. Paul's 3, 2 losses, 1 to Montverde, 1 to Columbus. Long Island Lutherans 4. 35-0, Plano East, #5. Like you said, Ani, with just not too many high-level guys, don't matter. 35-0 is 35-0. If you're 35,
Right.
And not one high major prospect.
I don't give a damn.
And I know that just was so impressive about them. Like, bro, like in 6A in Texas, like that's not normal, bro. Like,
that's some Dallas Lincoln. Yeah, that's some, you know, Chris Bosh type stuff right there. Like where you just run the table. That doesn't happen too often. You know what I mean? So shout out to Plano East. And I could tell they're a team because I asked the coach. He sent me a team picture. Oh, this is a true story. He sent me a team picture. And just because of the way we have our website at ballislife.com, I had to cut off the student managers. Just because of the you know, the Photoshop. And somebody's like, Ronnie, this is the real picture of the team. Like, don't be cutting them out. Like, yo, they're saying, I was like, oh, this is a team. I like that. I was like, cool. I was like, that was cool. They were like, hit me up on Twitter, like, yo, you cut out some of our team. Like, our managers are on the squad. I was like, damn.
Yeah, he did. They did call him out on that.
Yeah, because I was like, but they didn't really know. I just took it. I just took it for the team because they didn't really know I had to shape it for the website. I couldn't, you know, it's a certain dimensions it has to be. So I was like, that's cool. So again, for Stony Point, comes in at #6, 34-1 with the close loss to Plano East. So shout out to all those teams. And you know, like I said, you know, we got the FabFit on ballislife.com. I'll put up some stories we got coming up, and like I said, I'll have those rankings out for the Pangos Junior All-American Camp. I think next time after March 9th, we're going to have, obviously, the CIF state finals are that weekend, and so is UIL. Our guy, Horace, is going to come on. Our long-lost co-host, Horace, is going to come on and talk about GHSA Georgia, because he's going to be down there. So we'll have a recap of those 3 states and some others. The season's slowly closing. You know, what do you guys think? I know, Chelsea, you're going to be very busy in the EYBL type functions that are coming up and events. Anything else you guys got going up this spring? It's all coming fast, and then we'll get out of here.
No, we hit it.
No? Any vacations, anything jumping? I mean, we could talk about so much. I enjoy talking about you guys. We could keep going, but I didn't know if you wanted to mention anything. I don't have much else to go. Just
no vacations I can take.
No vacation. You're just busy.
I just got a new job, Ronnie. I can't be taking any vacations. I only got like 8 days of PTO. So I'm stuck. I'm gonna be out and about watching basketball.
Hey, that's a dream in itself. So I'm very blessed. You guys are very blessed. So on that note, we'll get out of here. Episode 181. We appreciate all the viewership. We appreciate everybody who enjoyed the Kobe Bryant 180. That was fun, and we'll have once in a while with those type of stories. But From now, we're out of here. For Ani, Chelsea, and myself, Ronnie, we are out. Take care.
Bye, guys.